we're in Brockton, Massachusetts. My name's Mike Armberger. So we're gonna interview Herbert Taylor. He's a World War II veteran. And Herb, how's it going?
Okay, we're doing pretty good here.
That's good.
I'm Herbert Taylor. I served with the 52nd Medical Battalion. It's a medical outfit. And I chose to go on the front lines, so they sent me to the Rangers. It's an outfit that goes in first. It's a TAC force.
Why did you join the service or were you drafted?
I volunteered. My buddy Bobby Rosenstock and I, we joined, volunteered for the Horse Cavalry. Well, at that time, the Horse Cavalry was just turning into the mechanized cavalry. And what they did use for the Horse Cavalry was they would bring up ammunition up on the hills, and they would take the dead down on the back of the small mules. And lots of times they would take and kick the men that was guiding them down the hills. They'd kick them off of the side of the mountains, and sometimes they'd get killed.
What were you doing before you joined the service? Were you?
I was up at the Y, Brockton Y.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Now was it? Where'd you have your basic training?
I had it in Camp Pickett, Virginia, and then I moved on to South Carolina, Fort Jackson, and I took training in Washington in the hospital there, my further training.
Now was it weird meeting everybody from all around the country? Was it different? Were
No, it wasn't.
Different personalities or?
No, the only thing was that the cooks, they was from South, most of them are from South.
Yeah.
And their style of cooking wasn't like ours.
Yeah.
And they treated us, some of them did. I was fortunate not to be treated. They treated them just like they did in the wartime.
Yeah.
Back in the 1920s.
Now, did you you obviously served in Europe, right?
Yes.
Do you think you would have rather served in the Pacific, or are you glad that you ended up in Europe?
In a way, I was glad I was in Europe because the medics in Russia, Japan or any place in the Pacific, in the Pacific, they weren't treated as good as we were.
Now, do you think one of them was more important than the other during the war, or do you think they were both equal?
I think them both equal. Yeah. Because I went down to 79 pounds. I was nothing but skin and bones.
Now, what do you think your most dangerous experience in combat was?
When I had a wounded on my back, and I got my canteen shot off from the side of me. It just blew it right off of my web belt.
Yeah.
But the hardest part was when I had a wounded on laying across my legs. He had a abdominal wound, and I had it bandaged, and I was giving him blood plasma. And the next morning, I shook him a little, and he was dead.
Do you believe that your superior officers were trustworthy, knowledgeable, and inspiring, or?
My officers were.
Yeah.
In the medical corps.
Right.
But there was a lot of them, in the Rangers, that was with us. They weren't as honorable as we are.
Yeah. Did you ever refuse to obey an order?
I never. I always obeyed it right to the letter. But That's what you put in the service for.
Yeah.
You obey your superiors.
Right.
Lots of times I would take and sneak in and do a little bit more to save a life than was to leave them there. Their idea is a man falls down, you don't touch him. You let someone in the rear take care of him. But if you don't take care of him right then and there, and give him something to prolong his life so that they could come up behind you and take and save him, what's the use?
Yeah. Did you come in contact with any SS troops or German troops?
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to come into camp and they'd roast us out, what they say, rouse, and that means get out. And they would put us out there when they had the bombing raids, because they had on one side of us they had an ammunition dump, and on the other side of us there was a field where the bombers and fighters would come in and out, and we was right in the middle of it.
Now where was this?
This was in Munich.
Yep. In camp?
Yes.
Now you told me earlier before the presentation you were a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
How was that? Is it tough or?
It's tough because you're always thinking of home, and it really gets to you.
Yeah.
At that time I wasn't married, but Mom and Dad was here.
Right.
And they had quite a job finding out where I was. The only one that found us was Salvation Army, the Red Cross. They couldn't find me.
Yeah.
But the Salvation Army, in 2 days, Mom and Dad found out that where I was a prisoner, where I was.
Now, what did they think of you when you joined the service? Did they have any, what did they say?
No, it was that time of the...
Yeah.
Everybody was going in.
So it's kind of expected.
Right, everybody was expected. The rest of my brothers all was in. And I followed along with them.
Right. Any other experiences with the war that you'd like to share? Or?
Well, I'd hate to see another war. Because right now they're even killing our boys over across. And what's the use? They said there would be no more wars, but they're still killing them over there. I just hate to see you go.
Yeah.
My grandson, he's been over there 6 times.
Oh, really?
He drives a big tank, and he's over there now.
Where is he over?
He's over across too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What he's doing is getting these guys, policing these guys, so that they can take care of themselves, and they give them tests on the tanks and everything. So we was trained over and across in Scotland. We had the different ranges from over there. They had the French, the Scots, the English, the Irish, and the British, and our troops too. So we was put into gliders, and that's a type of a box affair with the wings, but there is no plane, no motors to this at all. It's pulled across on a cable, and we was dropped in Africa, and we lost 50% of our men. it was tough because when we went in, we were supposed to have had clear area on which to drop these gliders in. So, but they hit buildings, they hit trees and whatnot. Then we took and made another. That was we made 2 landings right there, and then we moved on, and we were picked up with the LSTs, and we was going first with the boats, and then they dropped us off with LSTs, and we went into Anzio. Anzio was supposed to have been, because of the monastery on top of the hill, it wasn't supposed to be any fighting there. And kind of the popes, he promised that there would be no fighting there. But the Germans had 88s up in the monastery. They had it heavy armored, and the British come up behind us, and they pulled away because they was being bombed the same as we were. So that left our rear wide open, so that there was nothing I could do. I had over 20% casualties. They was dug into irrigation ditches, and when the Germans come in, an English Feldwebel, he speaks English, and he told me that any man that's left here would be shot. So then we went from there. I got the men, and we dragged out as many as we could get. And we knew that they was going to be shot because the boys just screamed and hollered, and then we heard a clack of gunfire. They had these machine gun pistols, and they just wiped out what was left. We was taken from there on boxcars, and they took our shoes away from us so that we wouldn't be able to escape. We went through Rome, and the Pope came out, and he blessed all the prisoners. We thought that was great.
Yeah.
So then we went to Munich, where that was my first stop off. I went into the hospital, and I got my men in there, and we didn't have no American doctors because they took care of the fellows that was in the planes and officers of Stalag, you know. So after that, I met up with a Russian doctor, and he took a look at my feet, and he says, "Mister," he says, your feet are in bad condition. I have had frostbite up to here, and there's still no feeling there. Mm-hmm. But at least I had my feet. But he went to work, and he put this heavy black substance all over my feet, and it drew it all out. But he said that I'd have to be very careful in winter times so that my feet wouldn't be exposed to cold weather. So we heard that the Russians was coming in to liberate us. I had moved to we took care of 3 camps. I was working with a medical team, and my primary job was to give them anesthesia, ready for the operation, and explain the operation in which where you are involved. There were Serbians and Russians and Polish doctors. They had medics could speak English, and we got together, and we had a chance to take and explain every case. So then, as they come up, we had German officers, old men, that used to go with us from one camp to the other. They stayed with us all the time. I got friendly with a couple of them, and I used to give them my cigarettes that we got Red Cross parcels. Finally, we got Red Cross parcels, and I gave them to him, and he used to bring in some German meat and salami, and the potatoes and whatnot for the exchange for the cigarettes, because the cigarettes was worth more than the food is.
Unless you have anything else to say, I'd like to thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen Eddie.
Yeah, and nice seeing him.
Yeah, oh, it's great seeing him.
My grandfather actually set up the interview. This is his uncle. I'd like to thank him.